Hello.
And welcome back to the Bible Study Girl podcast. It's Sarita, but you probably know me as Bible Study Girl. And switching roles, and is now the hello person because he can hear the music better on the Zoom. It's none other than the executive producer of this podcast, Bible Study Brother.
It is I, Bible Study Brother, also known as Icarus Gray over at Gray Area Anime, and I'm excited to bring you guys back to the most wonderful podcast of your day.
Oh, much better. You did it right that time. So, guys, we're still getting in the swing of things. I mentioned it in the first podcast, but Bible Study Brother and I are over 1,000 miles apart now because he has made the trek to move to Tacoma, Washington. And this week's podcast is all going to be about his journey, how did he end up in Tacoma. And it's going to be literally about the cross-country journey that we took to help him move there.
That I had to do twice.
He had to do it twice. I only had to do it once, and I don't have to do it again. Like, I'll be flying from here on out.
Yeah. So
Go ahead, break us off a little info. Let us know what sparked your move to Tacoma, so far away from your family and your loved ones and your friends.
So at the end of 2019, 2020, end of 2020. I had an amazing end to the year. I had the best birthday I've ever had. I had the best Christmas I'd ever had. And technically in October. So this is before I had all this stuff. So in October, Kanae and I took a trip down to Savannah, Georgia. We were looking down there because I'm stumbling over everything. But anyway, so we go down there because we were looking for a place to move. And I had been thinking about this for a very long time. Because I knew that it was something that Kanae wanted to do to further career and everything else. Once she got out of school, we wanted to be, to have a house, all this other stuff, but we didn't know exactly where to go. So in October, we go down to Savannah. We get back and, it just wasn't what we thought it was going to be. Now, this could have all been painted by the fact that it was election time and everywhere felt out of pocket.
But that was great information for you to know.
Yeah.
Yes. So you can make an informed decision.
Yes. And we get back and it was just like, well, dang, I guess we back on a drawing board in terms of where to move because I don't know. I guess we just gonna be here. And so we were sitting one day and Kanae looks over to me. And she goes, well, why not Tacoma? And I'm like, why not? Like, I hadn't thought about it. And she was like, it's on the West Coast is close to this and that. Your friend is up there, so you'll be able to work on music and try and do other things, concerning your gifts. And, there's just this feeling that God's giving me about that. And so, I sit there and I was like, okay, cool. I had never thought about doing that or trying that. And so we start praying on it. And then January happens, which if you listen to the last episode, listen, man, it was a whirlwind.
The bottom fell out.
The bottom fell out of everything. But the one thing that I did was I remained faithful to these promises. So we have the most horrible January, February happen. I finally get back to work after being gone for 20 days with COVID or whatever. And I get back, and this whole time we were supposed to go in January. We had decided and had to talk with God in about December or November or somewhere. And we were supposed to go in January. I was supposed to have a flight ticket paid for by someone who did not pay for it because they trash at times. And we wouldn't have had to pay for anything. And when the stimulus and everything came out, that would have been our moving money if everything had gone right. So Anyway, bottom falls out. Ooh, sorry, dropping things over here, guys.
That was the bottom falling out.
It was.
That's what that noise was.
so the bottom falls out, but I say I got to remain focused on what it is he told me, because God knows. Like, but at that point, I was probably doing more running than I was standing on promises.
Yeah,
So
I think so. Because if I had the option to get out of town, I too would have been on the first thing smoking.
but
good thing he told you that before the bottom fell out.
And the reason I'm bringing this up about the January trip is because of what God did to get us our, basically not our March trip. I think it was like April or something. I don't remember. It was March, April. And so I get back and we've basically spent majority of the refund on just staying afloat. Like, like stimulus checks, like there were so many people who got them who, like, I don't know, y'all was out here running shop or something. Like, I was just like, houseway, because I still got to pay this and pay that and all this other stuff. But anyway.
Well, you missed a lot of work because of bereavement and then COVID. And so that makes a difference.
Yeah. So, we were just trying to stay in front of bills, on top of bills at that point. So when I get back to work, my hard work at one of my jobs, I was the top salesman and pawnbroker or whatever for the store that I was at. And with that, they gave 2 gifts. I'm not knowing what those gifts were, because during the time that we were having our awards ceremony via Zoom, I was fever, just, I couldn't understand nothing that was going on. I was ready to get off the Zoom meeting. Didn't want to come in the first place. So I get back and I open these envelopes and we have $1,000 travel voucher and I have $1,000 in-store shopping spree. And so, like, I'm crying because I'm like, okay, God, I hear you and I understand. So we still gonna go. And so in March or April, can't remember which one, doesn't matter, it was spring. So in the spring.
I think it was April.
It was April because, March is spring break. We couldn't go during spring break, so we had to go April. Okay. So we go, and before we get on the plane and before we go anywhere, and I do not like planes. I had not been on a plane since I was in elementary school, so I was terrified. We had this prayer that, hey, let this land be the land of milk and honey that you've promised us it would be. We will not give bad report. We will learn from the example of those in the Bible, and we're not giving you bad report on this place or anything like that. That's not what we're going to do. We get on the plane, and when we get there, for something that everybody talks about how much it rains up here. And I mean, there is a rainy season and it does rain quite a fair bit, but that don't bother me because I like rain. But anyway, point I'm making in that is it did not rain one day, not a sprinkle, and we was right on the water.
Is April rainy season?
No, it's basically fall until spring, pretty much.
Okay.
So we were just out of rainy season at that point in time. And everything we saw was just beautiful. It didn't matter what it is we saw. It was all beautiful. We ate good. We had one place that I think was like questionable, but outside of that, like, he was just showing himself true. Like,
and food is very important to us.
So very important. And they got food up here. And we were happy that entire week. A lot of things happened and we're happy. So when we get back, we're still dealing with grief, and now we're trying to figure out how to get up here. And we're trying to save money and figure out apartments and all this other stuff. And at every turn, there was like these dates that they kind of wanted to set for, okay, I want to be out by this, I want to leave by this, I want to leave by that, I want to leave by whatever. And, eventually at one point, I just got this word inside of me, and I was just like, hey, let's stop giving due dates and just let God work this out. And that was around, like, we had been spending the whole year where it's like, well, I don't know how we finna do this or how we finna get up here because it costs so much here to live than back home. And the only one with a degree is you. And I'm gonna have to work 2-3 jobs just to do anything. Like, and I ain't gonna never be at the house to do nothing because I'm gonna leave one job and go to another. So when we finally came to like this moment together where we're like, hey, let's just let God do this. It's August, or September. So September, somewhere in the middle of September, I mentioned to my pastor that Kanae preaches and or has preached before because he had a plan, an orchestrated
No,
plan.
this was way before August, my friend, because you were out of here in September.
Oh yeah, so it was June. Excuse me.
Yes.
Excuse. I'm flipping.
See,
around.
I'm just here to maintain historical accuracy.
Timeline. Yeah. So it was June. So in June, my pastor was trying to start building a plan to get my wife to accept her call, like what he did with me. And I was like, I just mentioned to him something that he already knew and just had kind of forgotten that, you know, she had been, that she'd preached before. So it goes from that to, oh, well, we'll ordain her. You know, we'll ordain her at the end of August.
License her
at the end of August. Mm-hmm. And
again, historical accuracy
needed. So, you know, so we're like, oh man, you know, like all of these spiritual doors are opening. I mean, we're pretty much the ministerial staff for the church. And she applies for a job to teach at a high school up here. And, you know, it's kind of like we're thinking like if they get it, well, maybe they'll have something they can kind of help with us or something like that. Here's what actually happened. God was like, all right, time to open all the doors at the same time. So immediately after Pastor wanted to say that he wanted to ordain or license her at the end of August, they call her back like a week before or 2 weeks before she needs to be in Tacoma, and is like, yeah, you got the job. Okay. So now we got some stuff we got to figure out. So I'm like, I don't know what we finna do. We informed the church that, hey, you know, she's at least got to be up here by then. I knew if nothing else that I could get her up there because with the friend that I have, she could stay with him and her wife for a little while we try and like get some money situated, whatever, you know, get her first check, whatever it is, so we can get into an apartment. In the midst of all that, by the last week that we were going to be there, I think it was like a week before her, before she started, and a week after her ordainment, if I'm not mistaken.
Licensing,
excuse me. They had a going away party for us. Okay, you know, I expected much because that church has been my life. You know, it's still my family and a place I grew up in, and with people who, like, for extended family, they all there. So they give us this package, and it's a bunch of letters and everything else. And like, we were looking at apartments, and we had finally kind of found one that was not as strict in terms of stuff you had to have before you get into it. It's just like, well, do you have the money? Like, we're not, you know, because that was a difficulty and a barrier for us getting up here. And as we had found that, you know, we're trying to figure out a lot of different things or whatever, because we had to leave the week after, or a couple days after. Anyway, and we had like the exact amount that we needed to
look at God
to get up here,
opening doors.
You know,
you don't have a door opening sound effect. Nope.
Nah, I get one. We need, because we always be talking about how doors open. I'm gonna work on it. That's gonna be an easy one. So door opened, and now we kind of have to figure some things out. We had a lot of different things that we were trying to plan and get going. The first being getting our stuff up there. Now, initially, the plan was there were a lot of things that we were going to leave because while we were getting more space than we've had before, it was not as spacious to the things that we were doing. You know, like my bed frame was too huge. My all these different things were going on. So we get that together, or try to figure it out. And basically what it boiled down to was we're just gonna drive up here with everything that you need for a couple weeks, and then I'm gonna pack an unpacked house. Which my mother and sister ended up packing mostly for me because they are saints, and I'll be forever grateful to them for that.
Where's my halo and my wings? Because I can't hear you, but I'll listen to it in post.
I just had to let them clap for you. So now I have to do all that. We got to get this U-Haul. We got to get the truck up there because I sent her up with my car so I could have the truck with me, because I was gonna get a trailer and just fit whatever I could in the trailer. And that wasn't gonna work. So
it was not at all. At all. When I say these people win the award for the most amount of belongings you can squeeze into an apartment, they win the award. And I don't know how he thought he was gonna get all this stuff.
Right, because we were in a smaller spot. In my mind, we didn't have as much as we did. And it was crazy. But so now we got to get all that together. And initially, the plan, and God just be working. So initially, it was just gonna be me. And I don't know how. I mean, with the trailer, I don't know how I was going to do that. I had no idea. So it was our first.
Can I tell you?
Yeah.
Are you going to talk about your personal drive with your wife, or are we going to first? Because if not, I'm going to tell you the people how I got roped into this cross country adventure.
Oh well, I was going to get there, but I'll go. Oh, I do need to talk about that. So first, I got to drive her up there, y'all. So, it's a 3-day drive. Let's start there. It's 33 hours from Little Rock to Tacoma. And initially we were mapping out a route that was not favorable in terms of things seen. We were going through a whole bunch of states that I'm just like, no, I don't want to do that. And I get blessed with the fact that, hey, you can click avoid tolls. And I was like, wait, what? That's a thing? They don't just do that for you? Because who wants to drive where you have to pay? And we get on the road.
A lot of people don't mind. I mind. I'm a little tight.
I big mind. Because I'm not.
I do too.
For what, fam? Like, no. This is stupid. I'm already paying for gas. Take it from the gas companies, fam.
And honestly, the tollway didn't cut off that much time. So,
no, it cut off like,
why am I paying
an hour? And it was gonna have us like drive out and then up instead of like going diagonally or whatever. So we get on the road. We got all this stuff in the car. I'm like pushing it. Like we have like. How we set the trip up is in the 3-day drive. The third day is your lightest. The second day is your longest. You spend about 9 hours on the road, I think, the first day. Then it's about 12.
No, first day was long. First day was a long day.
Was it?
Second day was about the same. And then third day, light.
So it must have been like 10, 12, something.
No, the first day was 14, my friend.
Whew. Didn't feel that way. Kansas makes everything feel that way. You know what? I rescind. So Kansas make everything feel that way. So it's 33 hours, y'all. So anyway, first day was pretty long and arduous, and we have been driven these places, and everything is flat. I don't know how. If y'all live in Kansas, shout out to y'all. Y'all are blessed and highly favored. I don't know. I couldn't do it.
That's chosen people. Yeah.
Chosen. Y'all, yes, chosen. Because, anyway. So when we get through there, we stopped in Denver, Colorado, which was amazing. We stopped in a very in a blessed city the city that I will proclaim to be named after my daughter later if she asks.
And I also want to comment that he is talking about his trip with Kanae. So this is him and
Oh yeah, this is
Kanae
my first trip.
on their journey to Tacoma.
Yeah.
You'll hear my side later.
So wait, I asked you before I left because I remember
You
talking to you
did.
in Wyoming.
You did, but I'm gonna let you take your
Okay.
journey with your lovely bride, and then we're gonna talk about how I got roped into taking
So
this cross country trip.
then the second day is basically majority through Colorado, and you end up in Idaho. Um, and this is where God starts showing himself mightily. Like I'm seeing hills and mountains that I've never seen before. Like whatever I thought a mountain was not a mountain. It was a hill. Now, I might not say that if I was trying to climb it, but I would also say that, yeah, I could do that and survive versus trying to do these where I would die. Like, I can't fathom it because I can see the gravity of it right now, right? And it was like just majestic on this second day. Third day, my body is spent. My throat is itching. Like I'm getting worried a little bit because I'm like, bro, I cannot afford to go back home, be sick when I got to get back up here in 2 weeks. So third day we or like I said, yeah, third day we get up. My throat is itchy. We get in town. We're staying. Uh, we had one good hotel. Like 1 out of 3 is a very bad average because 2 of them hotels was woof boy, and we had chosen to stay an extra day in one of them, and it was like, nah, bro, I should never have done this. I am bougie, and I will remain so. Um, so yeah, so we get up there. And, I have all these things playing in my head, and I get back on the plane. Oh, speaking of the plane, this is my first plane ride or whatever, right? Or second.
Solo dolo.
Yeah, this is
It's
my
like your
second
third.
plane. Oh, yeah, you're right. Third, yeah.
But it's your first solo
It's my
dolo.
first by myself. So I got to get in here. I got my M90 mask on because my mama does not play about me or anyone being around the vid. Uh, and I'm just like, bro, I'm exhausted. I get home and my plan was, and see, I kept making plans that were way more lofty than what I understood. So my plan was get home and do all this other stuff. So I get home and I was supposed to take apart the bed, and I was just going to stay with my mom until, house was packed because I was going to have everything being cut off at a certain date so we wouldn't be charged extra and all this other stuff. And yeah, that was the first trip.
Okay, so let me get close to the microphone. Yeah. Let me tell y'all. So, I didn't really work. Well, I missed a lot of work in 2021 because of bereavement and like trying to get myself together. So my brother and his lovely bride are like, yeah, we're moving. Woo-hoo. And Joe's like, so can somebody help me drive? Now listen, we are all sitting around mama's kitchen table. This is hilarious. Me, mama, Joe, and Nate. When I say crickets, crickets. Nobody was like, now honestly I thought mama, because Bible study mama is, I love my kids, I ride for my kids, I die for my kids, man, anything my kids need. So Sarita's not saying anything because Sarita has missed a lot of work, and those bills and stuff I wasn't caring about, I'm starting to care now.
Yo.
Right, because we're close to September, and they like, all them bills you didn't pay because you weren't going to work. We want our money. And so
COVID is done. And then when people started
COVID
saying that they were done with it.
We want our money because you weren't working, and we don't care nothing about that. We don't care nothing about you was sad. give us this money. So I was like, well, I can't help you because at that point in time, like in my former job, which I have a new job now. We'll talk about that in another podcast episode. Actually recording in my home office. Anyway, it's lovely. You guys can take a tour when we're on YouTube. That means I need to really get it together and make it pretty. Anyway, so I didn't at that job. I didn't get paid time off. So anytime that I was not at work, I was not getting paid. I mean, that's been my pretty much for the last maybe 8 or 9 years of my career. Like PTO was not a thing. It's like if you don't work, you don't get paid. And so I was like, no work, no pay. But then I'm like, okay, guys, this is what I can do. I can, because mama was like, she gave us a whole speech. Let me say that, first of all. She gave us a whole speech for why she was not going to be able to take off work to drive her beloved son and daughter-in-law.
I'll tell the adjunct to that when we get there.
Why she wasn't going to be able to drive their stuff or help him drive their stuff to Tacoma. But she was strong about it. I mean, she was
real
adamant.
Strong. She was just,
she was so strong.
It's a contract. Contracts have been signed.
Right. She's like, I signed this kind and I can't take off. And we was like, okay, cool. I was like, well, since she can't do it, I will do it, but we'll have to do it. Like I can take off. I cannot work on a Thursday and Friday. Like I can work extra long days, Monday through Wednesday, and not work Thursday, Friday, because Labor Day was coming up. I'm like, I'm not going to be at work that Monday anyway. Yeah. That'll give me time to rest from the trip because it is a 3-day drive. So that means we'll be driving Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday I can come on home and be able to relax. I was like, cool, I can do that.
So going back.
But I only did it because Bible study mother was, when I say adamant.
I mean adamant. Like it was almost like she was a different person.
Right. It was weird.
Adamant
and so I felt sorry for y'all.
Like,
I was like,
dang,
okay.
I was like, well, what do you want me to do here? Like,
right.
but
like,
also,
okay, but she offered to pay for my plane ticket back.
Yeah.
And that was another thing. Cause like, I don't have no money for a plane ticket. Y'all know I'm, the mortgage people like, girl, what's up?
Bruh, and in hindsight, like it was also her attempt to get me to plan to stay longer.
You think so?
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. It was 100% because she said she was gonna be done at like I can go at the end of the month.
Oh, you're right. That was part of her evil plan.
And we talked about that because we talked about her. Okay, so at the adjunct, so in the first trip, we'd already had this conversation about Sarita going. And then I call her while we're in Wyoming because I'm giving Sarita the play-by-play of what we're going to be driving through and what we're going to do. And so we call all three of them on the phone because Kanae was asleep for a while, but she was up for this. And I was just like, yeah, Sarita, when we get here with the trailer, we going to have to, like, it's windy up here, girl. This ain't going to be what we want. And, you know, somehow I was like, and I was joking, but I say, hey, are you sure that you can't come? And on the phone, she goes, well, I was looking into some things and I think I'm going to be able to make time that week. And I was like, wait, for real? Like, huh? Are you serious? Like, well, because I can do.
I think, like I told y'all, like I think she had FOMO, fear of missing out, because we're like making these plans.
We're making big plans. It's gonna be an
epic brother-sister cross-country adventure.
Yeah.
Let's plan our snacky snacks, all this stuff. And I think
we're
that
eating
started
restaurants.
Right. Where we eating it? That's very important. So I think all of that started to build up in her. And I'm like, wait a minute. What do you mean you can go on this trip? Literally, the only reason I agreed to this trip is because you were so adamant that you
couldn't go. And we was on her. we was on her the laughing, like I couldn't breathe, laughing hard because it's just like, well, this changes everything. Because I'm like, instead of doing this wild goose chase that we've been trying to do in our home state of trying to get a hitch that no magician seems to be able to do, we can just get a U-Haul.
Right. So that definitely changed the trip planning. Um, it definitely changed the trip planning. And yeah, Bible study mama got herself on the trip. And I was like, she was like, let me go ahead and give me a ticket too, a plane ticket, and we can just, yeah, it'll be fine, and blah blah. Y'all, she didn't want to miss out. I will say every plan we made. Oh, and also because Bible Study Brother started on his cross country trip with his bride, he started telling these dad jokes to me. And I told him, I said, bro, listen, I'm not driving across the country with you listening to this mess. Like, you're going to have to find some other help. And that was another reason I was mad. I was like, you mean you let me sign up to drive across country with this dude, and you all along could have been the one to listen to his dad jokes.
And on top of that, like, so we had to enter into negotiations in terms of when I could tell dad jokes. It was a whole thing.
He was allowed to tell one dad joke per state. If we were in the same vehicle, one dad joke per state, or else I was not going on this trip because I could not listen to them all the way across the country because he was on a roll. And fun fact, in an interesting turn of events, now I send dad jokes
every day
to the entire family.
every day.
They be hilarious too.
They be hilarious. But I'm like, oh, word. But the only reason she did ramp up is because I forgot, like, the last I was being nice and was like, you know what?
You were tired.
I was exhausted.
You were tired.
But the biggest thing, because I mean, it was the same kind of trip and we've gone over time a little bit. But that was the funnest road trip I've had. It
was a great road trip. We had a good time seeing the sights of the country, watching the landscape change. We ate at Joe Mama's breakfast or whatever, Joe Mama's cafe.
It was our last little. Well, no, Dirty Oscar's Annex was our last.
Yeah,
meal.
But Joe Mama's breakfast was banging. We had some. What was it? Apple cider.
Ooh, apple cider. Something. It was just warm apple cider. Like a coffee or frappe or something. Whatever it was fine.
Whatever it was delicious. And also, I'm gonna tell y'all this. My family cares nothing about me. There was the 3 longest days of my life. Day 2 of the longest road trip we've ever been on in our life. I had a legitimate, I'm just going to put it out there. I had a legitimate medical emergency. Woke up in the middle of the night. Had a medical emergency. I was like, I turned the light on. I said, oh my God.
I just gave myself a headache laughing so hard. Jesus.
Joe sits up in bed and he says, Dad, what did you say?
I said,
that sucks.
I said, nothing I can do for you, of course.
Yeah, he said, ain't nothing I can do for you. And he literally went back to sleep.
I rolled
Mama never woke up. She didn't even know it was a thing. I was like, y'all, I could have died last night and nobody cared. I know it's because we were all just so exhausted.
And woke up. Dum 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 dum
dum dum dum dum dum. It was like a scene.
And these are their stories.
It was horrible, but anyway.
We'll tell that story one day, I promise.
Wait, that could have been the enemy, but God. Because them two, that's how I know he's a keeper. Because them two was just like, sucks to be you.
Listen, man. I on that day, like, here's the reason. The first day, my 2 drivers were very accommodating and very nice to me. In the fact that we were kind of switching equally. On that second day, we couldn't do that. I had to drive The
We made
whole
you
like
haul that
I
second day.
hauled like
The
second
second
day,
day was so long. I
bro.
was so tired.
Not
And I
only
know
was it long, we ended up like listen, Kansas and Idaho folks. I don't understand. Y'all got it. God bless you. Highly favored. So as we were driving through Idaho, when me and Kanae came through Idaho, nothing. Nothing. It was a long road. That was it. But for whatever reason, when we come through Idaho, every farm, stock, beef, producing place, factory, whatever, was open and working full tilt.
and those odors were humming.
So for hours, manure smell just everywhere. And it's
And it's
dark.
crazy because it's just like a week difference, pretty
It
much.
wasn't even that much of it. Like it was a 2 week difference, and that was it. And I could not like none of that was through there when we went through there. So, oh my God.
Also, day 2 was long because we made Bible study brother drive more, but he was driving slow because I think he didn't want to get rid of us. And we were like, you have got to drive. We are sick of this. Drive.
Yo, man. Cause see,
he
I
was in
drive
our
fast,
truck
but
and I was in a U-Haul.
I am a terrible like leader in driving packs because
He
I don't know
is.
how to just
So that's
drive. Like I
another
don't know how to
reason
just drive.
he
Like
does not.
I don't like
That's
if
another
I ain't got to
reason
worry
day
about
2
nobody,
like
I drive like my
torture.
mother. But if I do, then I can't drive like my mother. Like she drives like herself no matter what. And so
Right.
day 3, or also shout out to Denver Biscuit Company. Like I don't know if y'all ever want to sponsor us and just send us
Delicious.
stuff, but shout out to y'all fire. And the guy that owns the cake shop on the bacon thing, your chocolate too hot, bro. You crazy, but it's fire. Or I ain't never had it, but it looked fire.
I've never had it. It looks delicious. It's
Delicious.
beautiful.
I ain't
And
paying that
he's
much.
charging what he charges because he was on TV, but and they were gonna open too late for us to try it. It's a little chocolate. I don't know. I guess he's a chocolate artisan or whatever, but he's located in Chocolatier or something like that. Mm-hmm. He's located in Denver. We didn't get to try his stuff because he was opening too late for us to stick around. But yeah, it was a great cross-country adventure. I think it was the perfect way for you to really start your new phase in life.
And listen,
let
me tell y'all something. I love my mom and my sister very, very much. So much so they are very important, integral parts of my life. So much so that I was like, given the year that we had, I was praying prayers every day, saying, God, if you want me to quit on doing what you asked me to do, take one of them. Like if you just want me to quit, like the bottom done fell out, don't do this to me. You know, and there were stretches where I was looking at Bible study girl like, look.
Well, can I say something to rebut that?
What?
When I was having my medical emergency, you didn't have that same energy, dog.
That's not a rebut, fam. Like, yo, listen. Let me finish. So, no, hold on.
No, be quiet. No,
this is why. No, hold on. This is why I was so exhausted. Because even on the last, like, they had me, like, if you would have placed bets to whether or not I was going to cry at the last, at my seeing them off, because I wasn't going to see them off because they had a shuttle and stuff planned to get them to the airport. So when we dropped them off, that was it. Like, last little hugs, and I didn't, there were, and granted,
none of us did.
Granted, there were other things going on. It was like, it's time to go. So that's why I'm saying, like, listen, fam, by the end of day 2 and end of day 3, I didn't have nothing. Like, if you had caught me day 1 with that, I'm like, oh my God, you all right? But I just had to smell manure for hours. Like, I got to listen to long albums.
I needed my rest. I understand. I needed my rest too, but anyways.
I'm
glad you made it safely. So glad you're flourishing. And so glad you're enjoying your time in Tacoma so far. I see great things.
So just to give y'all a quick update. So currently, like, Kanae's working at the school. I am working on my dreams and passion projects and things that God's gift that He's placed in me. I have a YouTube channel. You can search me on youtube.com / Icarus Gray, I want to say. But if not, I'll shoot Bob Steady Girl a link to put down in the comments. So you should subscribe. I talk about anime and stuff over there. Like I said, over at Gray Area Anime, but now I do videos. I'm very focused on that YouTube channel. We have grown to over 50 subscribers currently. The views are going up. I'm continuously growing. I'm working on an album. Tentative month for release is about August. I've worked on some songs. I'm really excited about the things that are going to be coming for my channel and everything else. I'm also going to be spearheading the stuff for Bible Study Girl, which again, like I said, is a whole nother undertaking in and of itself, because there's money that has to be spent, and Bible Study Girl has to like go and get stuff and set stuff up without me there, or I have to like get a flight, set her up, then fly back.
Can I say something? He act like I'm incapable.
No, she's very capable, but I mean,
That's not
she is the most capable. But
sure.
You know, being a producer, you wanna be hands on. I am cooking in my studio because now we are a 2-bedroom family for once. Whew, Jesus. And prayerfully, the next update we'll be giving you guys is home. Is a home.
And now I am a home office haver.
You are.
So fantastic.
But yeah, so the trip
we're both
was
working in our offices.
Yeah. And the trip was amazing. I'm so blessed to have been able to do that with y'all. You know, it was an experience doing it for the first time with Kanae, but it was also an experience to do it in a way that only we can. You know, and
only us.
like, and we've had that was the longest drive we've ever had. Like, even given the fact that we've driven to Chicago and Niagara Falls and, you know.
But those drives were not like back to back.
No. So I basically drove 66 hours in 2 weeks. Like 66 hours, 2 weeks.
You didn't drive all of it, but yes.
I mean, I got to sleep the first day a little bit. Day 2 and day 3. Like, so 50 something. If you want to take a couple hours off, it's still 50. Like 2 days worth of drive.
Yes, because after the first day, nobody felt sorry for you.
Like, so it was like, because it was more so like, well, you'll get to, you know, you can rest, whatever. So it was God inspiring, and it was just one of those things that let me know God is definitely working and moving us towards things. I knew how hard it was for my mom and my sister, and we kind of see the things now, because obviously I left before the holidays, and I mean, I think we'll do an episode on that at some point as well, to just kind of talk about as we process grief and as we tell y'all about processing grief, going through different things, and how this year was different for us.
Oh, yes.
Because we've gone through the holidays now, and it was different than we've ever experienced for everybody. So we're going to talk about that, because I'm sure we talked about like a lot of the fun stuff that we did. And I've talked about how, you know, last year was the funnest time I've had on a birthday, the funnest Christmas I've had, and
it was so great.
Like,
Christmas 2020 was off the chain. It was fun.
Off the chain. The funniest thing.
It was a lot of fun.
Angel is a star. Like, you know, well, she's always been a star, but you know, and everything was just amazing. We're gonna be back together on Easter, so that'll be my first time seeing them since I've come up here physically.
Right, since September. Yeah.
So, you know, it's blessings.
He'll probably cry in. He won't be as tired.
Yeah, and my whole family, you know, my mother-in-law, mother-in-law, nieces, nephews, and everybody else is gonna be up here. But that is
epic adventure.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something else and I just forgot. It slipped my mind. Oh well. Definitely look forward to talking to you guys more. Like you said, just as we, of course, obviously our whole 2021 wasn't trash. We've had moments of laughter laughter,
We've
because we're still
had new
goofy.
life, you know.
New life. Yes, we have a new baby in the family. I love him. He's adorable. Sometimes his parents let me dress him up in different
He be
costumes, and I
sleeping with his
appreciate
eyes
that very
open.
much.
Is he's something else.
He's a joy. Oh, I know what I was gonna say real quick before we leave. One of the things that I'm so grateful for is that Tamika was able to record her faith journey before she passed
Yes.
away.
Yes.
You know, I was very focused on that being something that I wanted to do with all the older members of my family. Because, you know, when people get older, you're like, oh, you know, there's a possibility that you could be gone from me at any
Mm-hmm.
moment. And so I want to get this on tape. And so just I consider it such a privilege, and I'm so grateful that I have that memory of her talking about her faith walk and her life with Christ. And so this year, I'm recruiting people, anybody, everybody. Like, I want to talk to you about your faith. I want to talk to you about how your faith has changed throughout the course of your life. And I do mean everybody. Like, there's no story that's not important. I had somebody come up to me at Tamika's funeral and say, you know, yeah, Aunt Linda was talking about how y'all be on there talking about different stuff and blah, blah, blah. Because that was Aunt Linda. Uh, and she was like, so I had never listened to it, but I listened to Tamika's faith journey and it really inspired me. It really challenged me. And I'm so glad that you did that. And I am too. And so, you know, tomorrow's not promised to any of us. I really want to give everybody the opportunity to share your story. You may not be a writer, but you can sit and talk with us about how your life with Christ, what your faith walk has been like in an authentic way. You know, I don't need no fake, uh, I, no fakeness, but like truly peel
We'll
back
need
the layers.
that Kanye faith over here.
Right, truly peel back the layers and talk about what Christ has meant to you, different challenges you've encountered, because it'll help people, it'll bless people. Because listening to Tamika's story definitely blesses
Man,
me.
and it was incredibly prophetic. It was
It
like it was
was.
one of them things where I'm just like, ooh, chills. But if you want to be a part of that, if you want to answer this call that she's giving you as we open the doors of the church,
What organ it? Appreciate you.
doors are open.
Will there be one? Or maybe at least 10? Because I need some folks to talk to.
So we'll work on that. But send your request to BibleStudyGirl2019 at gmail.com. You can hit up Instagram, or excuse me, you can hit up Twitter at BibleStudyGirl, the number one. And then like the actual number one, not Bible Study Girl, the number one. And then hit us up on Instagram at Bible Study Girl, which is also be our Facebook as well. Make sure you like so you can follow and know when we drop these episodes, because that way, because now if you're just following us on Facebook and you don't want to leave Facebook, the podcast posts directly there and you can just listen to it from your Facebook. You don't have to download any new apps or anything of that nature if that's your preferred way of listening to this podcast. So remember, people, it's not the dogs preach, the cats preach, the birds preach, the fish preach, but we preach.
And until we meet again, guys, keep preaching.